MVP, Cy Young, and Rookie of the Year. Who will be the best of the best? Today, Matt and I are predicting what players will take home these prestigious awards. So lock on in and get ready for today's action-packed episode of Locked On Fantasy Baseball.
You are Locked On Fantasy Baseball, your daily fantasy baseball podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, fantasy baseball fanatics, and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Baseball podcast, brought to you by the Locked On Sports Network, your team every day. As always, we're your number one source for fantasy baseball knowledge, and thank you for making us your first listen each and every day. I'm your host, Dominic Martino, here with my brother, my co-host, Matthew Ane.
Yo.
You can find us on all social media platforms and podcasting apps. Just search for Locked On Fantasy Baseball, and we'll be there. If you listen on Apple, Spotify, or anywhere else that allows 5-star ratings and reviews, if you could leave us one, I'd really appreciate it. It goes a long way to help the podcast. And, if you're watching on YouTube and you haven't already, hit that little subscribe button and give us a like and a comment because we love to talk fantasy baseball with you. And, guys, we have done it. Thanks to all of you amazing fans. We've reached that 1,000 subscriber mark on YouTube, and we couldn't be more grateful and appreciative to every single one of you that have subscribed or shared the podcast with a friend. And if you've done both, thank you so much. It truly means the world to Matt and I. And guys, on today's episode, Matt and I are doing our award prediction show. So we're going to talk about some guys that we think are going to take home some of the biggest awards here. And Matt, AL MVP is up first.
Yes, sir. We all kind of heard my take yesterday of who I think is going to win the MVP, and that's going to be Mr. Shohei Ohtani. I think personally the guy is either playing for one of two things: to get traded, not even to pretty much get that big contract at the end of that season, whether it's with the Angels or not. So I think he's going to have a monster year. I don't need to read off his stats. I just need to say that Ohtani is ready to take it over. And he started with the World Baseball Classic. I think he's going to let it roll right in to the MLB season and just take off. So the MVP should be Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah, Matt, that's a super safe bet, brother. And I have a very hard time arguing with you on that one because I think Shohei Ohtani has a great shot at winning that MVP. He pitches like a beast. He hits like a beast. And that team is reloaded with Rendon looking great, Trout looking great. Renfroe has been hitting bombs all spring training long. He's got the cast around him to do it now. And I think he possibly takes home, like you said yesterday, the AL MVP and Cy Young, which is a great possibility. But I do have one guy that I think is going to give him a run for his money, and that's my AL MVP award winner prediction with Mr. Aaron Judge. We all know what Aaron Judge did last year, broke that Yankees single season record for home runs with 62. And the world is his oyster, and we're just living in Aaron Judge's world, man. And the guy, even chipped in 16 steals last year. So he's almost that full 5 category guy, with the bigger bases this year. Who knows? Maybe he even gets himself up to 20. That is a little bit bold. But, I do like Aaron Judge as my pick for, that he would be the back-to-back AL MVP award winner.
Yeah, it's possible. I think that, Aaron Judge is just great. Don't get me wrong. But to do repeat is just, statistically hard, in my opinion. So
it's true.
That is why I'm rolling with Mr. Shohei Ohtani. But let's move on. Let's talk about the NL MVP, and that I think is going to be Mr. Juan Soto. I think somebody that honestly deserves it because my man was literally trapped on probably the worst situation in baseball. And honestly, if not like terrible B team in the MLB, like the terrible B team, because the Nationals were just atrocious. And now that he's with the Padres, I feel like he's going to come in refreshed and hit that ball out the park and just go nuts and be Juan Soto and do Juan Soto things. And quite honestly, I think he's ready to do it. What he showed off in the World Baseball Classics and what he did in his short little stint in spring training. In spring training, at 14 at bats, 2 runs, 8 hits, 3 doubles, a home run, 7 ribbies, 1 stolen base, 1 walk to 3 strikes, and batted .571 with a 1.600 OPS. My guy is ready. He's refreshed, and he's ready to get that MVP. So let's go, Juan Soto.
Yeah, I think Juan Soto has something to prove this year. I think he wants to show everybody that he's still one of the best players in the MLB, which I know Matt and I firmly believe that he is. And the big news is that he's going to be starting on opening day. They officially announced, the Padres came out and officially announced that today. He's over that oblique issue. I would say keep an eye on it moving forward just to be sure. But you know what? I don't think the Padres would risk it with, their young superstar who they, gave all this money to. And I think Juan Soto is just going to, have that monster year. Like I said, something to prove. And he should get back to that over 300 batting average with a lot of power, great runs and RBIs, and he even chips in a few steals as well. So Juan Soto definitely has that potential to be the NL MVP. But let's move along. Let's give him my pick here for NL MVP, and that's going to be the polar bear, Pete Alonso. Now, I think Pete Alonso also kind of has something to prove, coming into this year. All the talk in New York last year was about Aaron Judge. And I think the polar bear says, you know what, don't forget about me and the Mets. I'm going to come out here and I'm going to do my thing. So if you weren't paying attention last year, Pete Alonso, as a 27-year-old, he came out and he said, you know what, I'm played 160 games, 597 at-bats, 95 runs, 40 bombs, 131 RBIs. He also stole 5 bases and hit 271. Pete Alonso, if you didn't even realize it, he's a career 260 batting average guy. I think his plate discipline has been getting better over the last few years, and I think he could possibly step that batting average up. Maybe hits 275, 280, and I think he'll get there. I think, that will put him over the top for, NL MVP. I think the bombs come back up. I think he has the upside of hitting 50 bombs in that Mets lineup. Once again, the polar bear is going to come out here and make some noise as far as the NL MVP race goes.
Every time I hear polar bear, I think I just need to put a Coca-Cola in his hand. But
I like that. I don't know how they haven't. Coke needs to give him a sponsorship. If they did that, like him as like a polar bear, and him holding the Coke, I love that, Matt. That's actually great.
PC Coca-Cola and Pete Alonso's agent. I get a piece of that. You'll hear me say PC. That's just me saying, let me get a piece. But yeah, anyway, I mean, I think
if you're from New York, you've probably heard the term PC. If you're not, that's what it is.
And we're not trying to say politically correct. Anyway, let me talk about the polar bear himself. I think Alonso has a shot. I mean, if he can even have somewhat of a trajectory of what Judge did, obviously not hit 62 home runs, but, do that 54 home run season, along with the Mets being as good as they're going to be this year, as long as they could all stay healthy, I don't see how he doesn't really make a push for it. And the only thing is I just don't foresee him beating out my boy, Juan Soto. But other than that, Alonso could be that guy. Anything can happen this year, and I'm excited to see it with this 2023 season. And before we talk about who's going to be the AL Cy Young winner, we need to talk about some great people here. Here at Locked On, we're super excited about our new sports betting partner, FanDuel. The tournament is heating up, and there's no better place to get in on some action than FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. New customers get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. That's bonus bets back if your first bet doesn't win. Just download FanDuel Sportsbook app. It's safe, secure, and super easy to use. Then you can wager on everything from money line, point spread, which team is going to be cutting down that net. Plus, FanDuel even lets you combine bets to your chance for a bigger payout in the same game parlay. So don't miss out on your chance to get your no-sweat first bet up to $1,000 in bonus bets when you go to FanDuel.com/lockedon. That's FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started today. Make every moment more with FanDuel. All right, guys. So I promised you a Cy Young winner, and I think we got a good one here. It's going to be for the AL, Mr. Cristian Javier. All right. The reason why I'm not going with my bold take is the likelihood, and I need to be, reasonable about this. And I think Cristian Javier is going to have that season. I mean, he showed it off last year and he threw a no-no in the World Series. A no-no in the World Series. The likelihood of doing that is slim to none chances. And I think that the likelihood of getting to Cy Young is slim to none chances for any pitcher out there. So he's already defied some odds, and I think he can defy it all year long, and I think he can be a top-end pitcher. I love Cristian Javier. I think that he's going to be the AL Cy Young winner. Let's go.
Yeah, so Cristian Javier did combine with I believe it was Brian Abreu, Rafael Montero, and Presley to throw that no-hitter, that combined no-hitter in the World Series. And if you guys listened at all last year, Cristian Javier is my dog, as we say out here in New York. I fell in love with him. I told you everybody to pick him up when he first got pushed into the rotation. And as Matt said, last year they kind of gave him that shot, 148 innings, 194 Ks, 2.54 ERA, and that 0.94 WHIP. I think if Cristian Javier gets up to 180 innings this year, you're going to see 200 plus Ks. You're going to see that nice stellar WHIP. I think he has the upside of winning 17, 18 games. And, that's going to be enough to get that, that AL Cy Young done, in my opinion. So I'm definitely looking forward to, seeing what Cristian Javier brings to the table this year. And I would definitely go out there. I'm not a betting man, but I think I'd go out there and put some money on Cristian Javier to take down that AL Cy Young. But next up, we got another one of my boys. Once again, if you listened to that all last year, somebody I was raving about nonstop, and that is Spencer Strider. And Spencer Strider actually did break the record for most strikeouts in a game by an Atlanta Braves starting pitcher. I believe it was 16 strikeouts. I watched that whole game, and the kid's got electric stuff. He even looked great in spring training. Spencer Strider had 4 starts, 2 wins, 1 loss, a 1.69 ERA, 16 innings pitched, 21 Ks. He only walked 4, and that WHIP was a 1.12. So I think Spencer Strider, once again, like Javier, is going to move up in that innings count. I think Strider can get up to maybe 180 innings as well this year. I could see 250 plus Ks from him in 180 innings, maybe even more. And, he has very good control with that 0.9 WHIP last year, 2.67 ERA. Maybe that ERA comes up to a little bit to a lows 3s or a high 2. I think the WHIP stays the same because the control is pretty much pinpoint with Strider. He knows exactly where he's putting that 100-mile-an-hour fastball. So I love Spencer Strider as my NL Cy Young Award winner.
Yeah, I mean, I could see Strider winning it and taking that step forward, but I think he probably was getting real close last year until that injury happened, and that's where I get a little worried about him.
Yeah.
Is can he handle the workload, and also to the negative regression that we can possibly see from Spencer Strider just going into his sophomore year. We may see a sophomore slump, even though I don't foresee it. I think that something is going to come along that's going to hold him back, unlike the person I think is going to win the NL Cy Young, and that's Mr. Aaron Nola. I think that Nola is just, one, super motivated to prove everybody wrong, and 2, has not come to a contract with the Philadelphia Phillies. I feel that he is going to be motivated to get paid by either the Phillies or another team and go to a contender at the trade deadline. So I feel like Nola is going to push as hard as he humanly possibly can and just, use the dark force and become the Sith this year and just, go full ham on this league and just take everybody down, because Nola has it in him. The guy threw 230 strikes last year in 205 innings. I don't foresee how he doesn't, and I think he's going to have everything at his fingertips to try and get paid. So let's go Aaron Nola.
I love Aaron Nola as well, and I think if he can get back to like a similar, even though he was great last year, if he can put up another season similar to 2018, where he had Nola had the 2.37 ERA, 212 innings, 224 strikeouts, and that 0.97 WHIP. He actually came in 3rd place for the Cy Young Award that year. He came in 4th place last year. So as Matt said, that contract year, he's got something to prove to everybody. I think he actually comes out there and he crushes it this year, and he has a monster year. But let's move on to some Rookie of the Year picks, and I got my boy coming up here, and it's Corbin Carroll. I think Corbin Carroll is just, there's so many things to love about Corbin Carroll. He has the best sprint speed in all of MLB, last year, and he's just been on a monster tear this spring training. So Corbin Carroll so far in spring training total, because we got opening day tomorrow, guys. Today, as you're listening to this, actually, Corbin Carroll in spring training, he played 17 games. He had 46 at-bats. He had 14 runs, 17 hits, 6 doubles, 3 triples, no homers, unfortunately, but he had 7 RBIs. He had 5 steals. And guess, this is my favorite part of that stat line. 11 walks, 8 strikeouts. The kid's plate discipline. For a 22-year-old to have that kind of plate discipline, I mean, I foresee this kid, coming close to leading the league in steals, if not leading the league in steals. He also hit 370 over the course of spring training, so the batting average is going to be there. The only thing that might be a little suspect is the power, but I still think he has 15 to 20 homer upside. So, if the Diamondbacks are good this year and Corbin Carroll gets, 85 runs with, like I said, the bomb total already, maybe he gets like 65, 70 RBIs. I think he has upside to steal 40 bags and hit 300. I think he could take that NL Rookie of the Year award home.
I mean, I could see it happen. I mean, Corbin Carroll is outright the fastest person in the MLB now. I also see where Corbin Carroll can perform in an opportunity where the Diamondbacks are desperate for any kind of, plus in their lineups to get fans in the stand. So they're probably going to give him the green light all day. But I just don't know if that power is real. And if that power is not real, then we have a problem. And that's where I see he's going to be taken down by my guy, Mr. Jordan Walker. And this is a guy that can honestly break out and have an Julio-esque kind of rookie year and just really take it down. And Jordan Walker has been showing it through spring training. This spring training has just been absolutely magical for the kid. In 65 at-bats, he has 10 runs, 18 hits, 5 doubles, 3 home runs, 9 ribbies, 2 stolen bases, 2 walks to 15 strikeouts, batting .277 with an OPS of 791. He was absolutely murdering it until he hurt his shoulder. And I strongly feel that he's going to get back up on that horse and start mashing again. All starting tomorrow with the first opening day. And I think he's going to get that Rookie of the Year. Jordan Walker is an absolute stud with that 30-40. I mean, the 40-30 upside. I think he can be an absolute compliment and just go off. Maybe not this year, but he could definitely win that Rookie of the Year and be a future stud and a future top 10 pick in the years to come.
Yeah, I think Jordan Walker definitely has the potential to win that Rookie of the Year. I think Corbin Carroll and him are going to be going at it all year long, and it's going to be a fun race to see. The thing is that Walker's just making me a little bit nervous with that shoulder injury because he really cooled off from that hot start with spring training after that shoulder injury came up. And I don't like the strikeout to walk ratio. 15 strikeouts to 2 walks is, poor plate discipline there for him. But he does have that power upside. I think he could hit you, this year I could see 25 to 30 bombs. Steals maybe like 15, the counting stats should be fantastic in that, Cardinals lineup. As for batting average, we'll see. I still think maybe he sits in the 270, 275 range. But hey, that's going to be more than enough to put him in that contention for that NL Rookie of the Year award race. But guys, you need to get ready for the baseball season with Locked On MLB's ultimate 6-episode season preview. Our local and national experts give in-depth analysis of every team and division in a way that only Locked On can provide. Find all 6 episodes on Locked On MLB's YouTube channel or wherever you get your podcasts. So, guys, make sure you get ready for the season with Locked On MLB. So, guys, we're going to keep it pushing here, and let's talk about that AL Rookie of the Year award winner. And Matt and I have the same guy here, and it's our hometown boy, Anthony Volpe. Now, Anthony Volpe just came out and he told Oswald Peraza, you're heading back down to the minors, and I'm taking that shortstop gig because he just started off spring training on fire and did not look back at all. So Anthony Volpe this spring training played 18 games. He had 53 at-bats, 13 runs, 16 hits, 6 doubles, a triple, 3 homers, 5 RBIs, 5 steals, 9 walks to 15 strikeouts. You love that. And he hit .302. So, in the minors last year, Volpe was just on another world with 50 stolen bases. He had 21 bombs, 86 runs, 65 RBIs. The batting average was a little bit low at 249, but the rest of those stats surely do make up for it. And, he is going to be batting 9th in that Yankees lineup. But guess what? that top of the lineup is going to be driving him in with LeMahieu, with Judge, with Rizzo and Stanton. So if Volpe gets his butt on base, he's stealing second, and then he's being driven in by some of the best hitters in all of baseball. I think right now you go and you take your any extra money that you want to lay down bets on, take it, put it down on Anthony Volpe to win AL Rookie of the Year, because I think that's a safe bet.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, to be completely honest, a guy stealing like that, and it's just going to be like me thinking of Trey Turner. Like when Trey Turner was getting that call, oh my God, this guy had the upside of just stealing everything. Like he might get the nickname of Mr. Steal Girl. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm going to have to come up with something for him, because once he starts stealing bags, I got to watch my pockets, everything. Because I mean, he's just going to be the Captain Pit pocket, you know. Volpe's going to be great this year. He's definitely going to be deserving of the AL Rookie of the Year. I can't really think of anybody that even comes close to him, and I'm not trying to be a homer. But anyway,
real quick, let's not disrespect Gunnar Henderson, because Gunnar Henderson is going to put up a fight. I do like Gunnar Henderson a lot, but I just don't think he has the upside or potential that Volpe does. That Yankees lineup is way better than that Orioles lineup. But let's all respect due to Gunnar Henderson, because they're gonna fight for it this year.
Plus, his spring has not been hot, so that's the other thing.
That's a big thing. That's a big thing.
Because this would be a different conversation if it was the other way around. So let's move on here. We're going to talk about our AL break comeback player of the year.
My boy, talk about him every day. He needs to be in the podcast every single day. It's Anthony Rendon. But Matt, take it away. Take it away.
So like Dom, here's what we're going to do when Anthony Rendon retires this year or next year, whenever he does. We're going to get a third camera thrown in, and he's going to be on this podcast. And we're still going to be saying he's going to be bouncing back.
You're invited. Anthony Rendon's invited to be on this podcast whenever he wants. So we will make the time whenever he's free. Somebody, if you know Anthony Rendon, message him and tell him that we want him on the podcast.
Yes, sir. So I mean, let's just have our one last quick take on Anthony Rendon before the season starts tomorrow, and when you're listening it today. So let's just get there. Rendon is just going to have a healthy season this year. Again, another one of those scenarios where the incentive is to keep Ohtani. The incentive is to prove himself, prove that he is worthy of the contract that he got. And they want to win a World Series and bring Mike Trout a World Series ring. So you got to keep a lot of people right. And you got to keep a lot of people happy. Otherwise, you're going to be out on your butt. So Anthony Rendon has a lot to play for this year. So Rendon is going to bounce back. And Rendon is going to come in hot.
Yeah, guys, I was watching Anthony Rendon in his last spring training game, and I saw him rip a double right between the outfielders, and it was absolutely beautiful to watch. So Anthony Rendon finished spring training playing 14 games, 34 at-bats, 8 runs, 17 hits, 4 doubles, 2 homers, 8 RBIs. He walked 5 times, and he only struck out 5 times, and he hit a delicious 500. I don't know what else there is more to say. Maybe just one thing that I haven't mentioned about Rendon is that he's a professional hitter. His career batting average is 285. So he knows how to spray the ball. Now that the shift is banned, he could put the ball where the fielders aren't, and I think he easily hits 300. The power upside's there. That great lineup that we've been raving about with the Angels, the runs and RBI should be fantastic for Rendon, and he's finally looking healthy after, a couple disappointing years with the injuries. But let's move on to our last guy here, and it's another one of my boys. I feel like this should have been the My Boys episode, the Boys episode, and it's Kris Bryant. I think Kris Bryant wins NL comeback player of the year. Another guy that has had a very, very good spring training. Kris Bryant, he's 31 years old. He played 15 games in the spring training, 37 at-bats, 8 runs, 11 hits, 2 doubles, 4 homers, 8 RBIs, 6 walks to 10 strikeouts. You love that. And he hit 297. Now, KB dealt with some injuries last year that are doesn't make him a phalanges guy, which we say on the podcast. If you're not familiar, just means that he's injury prone. Matt came up with it. Fans love it, so we keep it going. And he had plantar fascia and a little bit of a back issue. And that can happen to anybody. Sometimes my back starts to hurt me when I'm walking up the stairs at work. And, if you're playing baseball every day, you cut him a little bit of slack, and that plantar fascia in the feet, it's stuff that can all be dealt with pretty easily. It's not a soft tissue issue or anything like that. And we all know Kris Bryant's history. He has got great power, I think, which only gets better in cores. He got that 30 plus home run upside. He's a career 279 hitter. I think he could hit closer to 300. I would say it like this. I could see him having a Nolan Arenado-esque season there in cores, just like Nolan used to do every single year. So I think Kris Bryant is a safe bet. If you get a good, money line on Kris Bryant for NL Comeback Player of the Year, definitely throw a couple dollars his way.
Yes, sir. I mean, to be honest, this episode should just be called FanDuel, and we're a bit.
It is brought to you by FanDuel, so use
Yeah.
FanDuel, guys.
But I mean, you pretty much took every word I humanly had to say about Kris Bryant. He's
I'm
so.
sorry.
It's all good. We know how much you love him.
That's my boy.
All I could say is Dom's 100% right, and he's such a value in this year. So like, I can't really say stay away because he's just so good. But we have one last thing that we're adding on at the end here, and that is going to be, who do you think is going to finish as the number one fantasy player this year? Ranked numero uno, the best of the best. And my pick is none other than Mr. Ronald Acuna. I think Acuna is going to bounce back fully. My guy is just outrageous. He was dealing with that torn ACL after having one of the hottest starts I've seen from him, period. Before he got hurt, it was just outrageous, right? In 297 at bats, he already had 72 runs. That's only 82 games. That's like 2 games over half the season. Okay? He had 19 doubles, a triple, and 24 home runs halfway through the season. He had 52 RBIs, 17 stolen bases, and he had 49 walks to 85 strikeouts and was batting 283 with an OPS of 990. Okay. If he even goes on like 3/4 of that pace, he is going to be the number one fantasy player, hands down. That 40-40 season, I think, was in reach because, I mean, again, he was already at 24 home runs and he already had 17 stolen bases with half a season to go. There's no way he wasn't doing 40-40. And if he does 40-40 this year, and it may be like, if he takes that trajectory, 50-40, by God, he may go off. I mean, that's a little extreme. But Ronald Acuna has it in him to do the 40-40. He was on pace for it last year, 2 years ago now. And I think he can do it again. He can be the number one fantasy player. That's Ronald Acuna.
Yeah, Ronald Acuna, you Kris Bryant and me there in the sense of that anything that I had to say, you already said. Just I'm going to throw out there, he's a 5-tool guy. He's a career 277 hitter. I won't worry about that batting average. Got the pop, got the team around him, got the speed. Ronald Acuna is a safe bet to be the number one overall fantasy player this year. And mine is easy. I'm just sticking with my boy. I'm sticking with Aaron Judge. I think Aaron Judge, until he is knocked off that top peak, I think you just, you ride with Aaron Judge. You know the numbers already. I spoke about him at the top of the episode. I got his jersey on today. So, I mean, I got to go with my hometown guy. I got to say Aaron Judge. Pretty much a 5-tool guy, with the 16 steals last year. So he's even chipping in the steals category now. And not much else I could say about the dude. Just let's go Yankees. I'm excited for opening day tomorrow or today as you guys are listening to this. And, go out, enjoy your opening day. Hopefully some of you were able to get off work. Unfortunately, I wasn't. So sit home, crack a beer if you drink or have a soda, whatever you enjoy, whatever you indulge in, have it with you, watch your favorite team play. And we can get to root for some real baseball, some real fantasy stats. And then you could talk trash to your friends and your league mates. Say, I listened to Locked On Fantasy Baseball and they helped me out. They helped me get this team. And guys, so that's all for us today. Please be sure to like, subscribe, comment, rate, and review. Check out our website if you haven't already. Our website has a little bit about us. You get access to all of our episodes on there. And Matt and I hope to be writing some articles soon on there. You also, during the season, we'll have our waiver wires. We'll have streaming pictures. We'll have a lot of fun stuff on that website. And thank you for making us your first listen each and every day. And why don't you go make Locked On Astros your second listen each and every day? We were on that podcast. Those guys are absolutely great over there. They run a great show. They've been with the Locked On for years and years, so they've got they've got this podcasting thing down to a T. There's so many fantasy players on the Astros that are absolutely great. So make sure you give them your second listen each and every day. And guess what, guys? Tomorrow we will be back with an opening day recap. We're going to be talking about all the good, the bad, the ugly, the fun, the amazing thing. Baseball is back, guys. But until tomorrow, see you.
Peace.